Welcome, Panther Nation football fans, to another edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. I'm, of course, Mr. CeeLo here, talking all things Carolina Panthers, from the postseason to the Super Bowl to the offseason, from the draft to OTAs to the preseason to the regular season. Let the growlin' begin. Welcome back, all you Panther fanatics out there. Glad you could join us for another edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Hope you guys have had an awesome week. Not really looking forward to this matchup we have here coming up this week, as the 4-1 Dolphins host your 0-5 Carolina Panthers. But take heart, we're not the only ones that are not looking forward to this. The entire world says we have an 88% chance to win this game. But I, Mr. CeeLo, are here to give you a couple of reasons why we should look up and possibly look forward to a possible victory Sunday. But it's going to take a couple of big things we're going to have to deal with. First and foremost, you got Tyreek Hill, and we're going to have to figure out a way to neutralize him. Unfortunately, we do not have we don't have the services of one J.C. Horn. But, with that being said, with Dante Jackson set to return, that's always a plus. And C.J. Henderson, not exactly. He's been up and down, especially in coverage. There is a guy by the name of Deshaun Jameson. Jameson's a guy who consistently tasked with following deep routes stride for stride against some of the top receivers in his collegiate days, and has held his own. But looking here, hopefully he can come out there. He has that fiery attitude, that chip on his shoulder. This is a matchup we have to win. I would preferably like to see someone like J.C. Horn, who is not available. Dante Jackson is okay, but trying to cover the cheetah by yourself is not exactly a thing. But who knows? Maybe Jameson doesn't struggle. Maybe he even breaks his own a couple of times. Who knows? But if he can just make this a battle and keep Hill in front of him, and possibly make a play or two. I don't think that's realistic. But I felt like this was one that needed to be, because Dante Jackson's gonna take care of Waddle. Obviously one, and I remember reading somewhere they were talking about Brian Burns and Kendall Lamb. Now, I think it was Dean Jones or somebody else that said Brian Burns has not been worth all the hype. Now, I totally disagree with that. Brian Burns is the one guy on the Carolina Panthers defense that you must account for. And I think his moving around, I think it's Coach Avero's way of saying, hey, look, we know you're the most important guy, so we're going to make defenses have to game plan against you. We're going to find those little mismatches. If your line is not the best on either side, we're going to find out. Or if you don't have specific blocking assignments that are reinforced, we're gonna carve you up. But as far as this matchup goes, I don't think Kendall Lamb will see as much of Brian Burns as we think, unless now, they've lost their best lineman, so this is why this is important. Now, I'm not saying they're going to keep him there all night, but I think if Lamb struggles, that he can see a lot of Brian Burns. And of course, that would open up things for a guy like Edo Gross-Matos, who's having a pretty good year, and of course Amari Barno as well. coming in there. We haven't heard much of Derrick Brown on the pass rushing front, so hopefully this will be a game that he actually comes out and stakes his claim as one of the best players in the league. But you're looking at our secondary also without J.C. Horn and Xavier Woods, so we definitely need pass rush to be good, because honestly, the defense, considering the amount of pass rushing that we have outside of Brian Burns, Louisville has not gotten to the ball, to the quarterback nearly as much, but he also has not been asked to perform that role as much. But when he does, he makes it count. So I would like to see Coach Avero stick him on that. But I think if we're going to win this game, Burns has to be massive. And then the last thing is, and I'm well, not the last thing, but one of the other things is, ironically, Carolina's defense has been pretty good, but they don't talk much about how suspect the run defense is. I think we're going to have to slow down Miami's run game, meanwhile trying to keep all that speed in front of us. We're just going to have to do that. That's just a must. If we can't keep the run in front of us, we're not even going to be in this game. Miami's not even going to have to throw the ball. It's just going to be a situation where they're giving the ball to Mostert and Waddle and Hill on reverses and end arounds. Probably another deal that I think is going to be huge if the Carolina Panthers are going to make a move in this game is that Laviska Shenault needs to touch the ball. Now, Thomas Brown did bring this up at a press conference. They're going to get more creative. Because let's face it, how many times have I told you guys, Miles Sanders ain't it? He ain't it. And we look pretty stupid not keeping Deontay Foreman. So, it would not surprise me that if we went and made a move at the trade deadline to get maybe one of these running backs. Would have been better if we would have went on and got Kareem Hunt while he was sitting out there. But who knew? I will say that I think ultimately we're going to Thomas Brown is going to have to mix it up. Our tight end is going to have to beat this aggressive Miami defense, and we're going to have to run the football. So I'm honestly thinking we're going to have a big game out of Chuba, possibly a big game out of Laviska, and arguably we're going to have a tight end that balls out. That's just all there is to it. We're going to have a tight end that is going to do his thing, going to come out there and just, you'll light it up. Bryce is going to have to throw a couple down the field. I would like to see it either be Terrace Marshall or Jonathan Mingo, who's been coming on. Rumor is that maybe Terrace Marshall could be on the trade spot. Finally, I think the one thing we've got to do is we've got to turn Miami over. We've got to get at least 2 turnovers. And Coach Avero, we need to figure out how to get Jeremy Chin on the field. That's just bottom line. We don't need to be trying to use him for trade bait. We need him on the field. And anybody in Panther Nation that thinks we can survive without him, look, when he hadn't played, we lose. We need to stop worrying about trying to get back in the first round, because here's the realistic aspect of it. We're not going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's try to keep this team intact if we can. If, Jeremy Chin doesn't want to work with us on a new deal, call him in there. Ask him what he desire from the Carolina Panthers. If he desires to stay with the team, awesome. But we cannot pay him like a top tier safety yet, or a top tier defensive weapon. He hasn't shown he's that dispensable yet. But those are my keys to the game. I actually have a bonus key. If Bryce Young throws for 300 against the Dolphins and throws 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, we win this game. We'll win this game, and then we're fully capable. But Thomas Brown, Frank Wright, y'all got to call more than just little short stuff. You got to allow Bryce to throw it down the field. And stop sitting here saying he's not reading this. I refuse to believe a dude who scored higher than C.J. Stroud on this exam that this GM was claiming was going to cause C.J. Stroud to be the worst player, was going to be a bust. Yeah, he's a bust, all right. He busted up the league right now. So he scored so high on this cognitive test, and honestly, all I can say is Maybe there's something y'all are doing that's wrong. You talking about simplifying it? Maybe he doesn't need to simplify it. Maybe y'all need to cater more to him. When you take a quarterback number one, Frank, unless you're going out saying, like you said in a press conference earlier this week, and you were putting out or beating around the bush that maybe he wasn't your choice. So I just say make it work. Figure it out. Figure it out. Find out what it is he likes to do and make it work. But my ultimate prediction is I think the Panthers keep it close up until later, and then they go into the hurry up like they did against Detroit. And I think we end up losing this game by 10 points. I think they end up scoring 31 and we end up scoring 21. Oh, excuse me, 34 to 24. And I think we do some things well, but I think we ultimately are going to need to get Corbett back. We're going to need to get J.C. Horn and Xavier Woods back in uniform before we can fully make a pull. I know people are going to say, well, we fought 0-6. We need to just throw it in and wait for next year. I don't think so. We need to make some moves because we don't have any draft picks. But let me know what you guys think. Hit me up, of course, at the Facebook and the Instagram, as well as commenting down here, you guys. I hope we can go live eventually and we can start dialoguing. Many of you, the interactions, you guys know how, if you watch any of my other shows, you guys know how I love interaction with you guys. I love interacting. And so many of you guys are so out there as far as your ideas. I'm really not going to say I'm angry about some of the comments you guys make, but I must tell you guys, if you can't be supportive of Bryce and the Carolina Panthers, then we don't need you. Bryce needs us more than ever right now. We need you guys to be on board. We need you doing what it takes to be a fan. And like I said, just continue to support and stay encouraged, because that's what we need. Stay encouraged and stay on top of one another. But until the next time, keep prowling the airwaves and keep growling out. Keep pounding.